To get started, I'd love each of you just to give yourself like a little intro of who you are and how old your child is and what made you come to camp.
Hello, I'm Diego. Our child is 13. We've been going through the process of overcoming selective mutism since 2017. That was our first time that obviously COVID hit and we had a major setback. But he's been doing great. There are many goals that we still have to accomplish, but things that seem to be impossible years ago, they are a reality today. So we're very positive that it's going to happen, and we're going to reach to that point where he's going to be overcoming fully.
Hello, my name is Kelly, and we attended camp in 2022, and now he's older and going through a different phase of his life. We wanted him to be able to improve upon his skills he's already made and has, and just to, continue upon doing the great things he's doing already.
My name is Alina Asimakopoulos. My son Ari is 8 years old, and he was diagnosed when he was 4. We have been working with different specialists over the past 4 years. He's made a great amount of headway. For him, the only setting that it sort of remains is the school or classroom setting. So regular school, Greek school, Sunday school, anywhere there's sort of a classroom or that building, he sort of exhibits the selective mutism symptoms. And we have only recently started working with Dr. E's office, and this is our very first CommuniCamp. So we're learning a lot here so far.
I am Caitlin. Our daughter is 6 years old. She was diagnosed when she was just turned 4. So we came here to help her learn skills. She's about to start in school in the fall. And so we're here to learn, and we also want to learn strategies to help her as well.
I'm 6 now, and we just noticed her already over the last couple of years growing. So I think CommuniCamp is going to be great to equip her to do that more, but also like what Caitlin was just saying, for us to learn. And we just from yesterday to today, feel like we have a little bit more knowledge on how to help support her. I can understand we're going a long way, so it's excited to be here.
Thank you so much. No, this is great. And we have kids of different ages, 6 years old, 8 years old, 13 years old. You're all in different places in your journey. And I think the overwhelming theme is, all right, my child's starting school. And so if you had to think about like the biggest question that you would ask is one is, how do I prepare her or him for school at this point, if you're even changing schools? And one of the things when I read over your questions, there's a lot of focus on how do I get my child to? How do I get my child to do this? How do I get him to be motivated? How do I help her, navigate? How do I help her? And although we're here and they're learning and they're doing and they're making progress at camp, I'm going to say that it's really going to be relying on us educating, you educating whomever you're working with, whether it's us or someone else, really working closely with your school because it's about them facilitating. There's a saying I often say, it's called don't wait, facilitate. Our kids don't come in with a notebook and they don't go in on the first day of school and say, all right, Mrs. Smith, please do this. Pair me with a buddy. Ask me questions this way. I really like playing chess, so please do that. Like they don't do that. So we have to figure out how do we get the proper accommodations, interventions in place, and how do we set the school to be positive, where they're excited about it and not scared. And one thing that 2 of you said was like, how do we maintain the progress we had last year? Sometimes there is a dip down, but there's lots of ways we can kind of prepare. And one is, what are we doing this summer to kind of walk the halls? So it's August. You guys are starting school within the next 4 weeks, probably. Like walk the halls, go to the building, reach out, find out where your children's classes are, and really walk the halls and see where the bathrooms are. Look at, even if they were there again, arrange time to meet the teacher. And it doesn't need to be an exposure where you're practicing all your skills. Just let your child be. Educate, talking to the teachers and educating them is important, and that's through training and maybe emailing them and about my child. If it's a new teacher, about my child is kind of, this is the way my child presents. Here are things that you can do to help her feel comfortable. So those things are, mainstay. But are you guys starting to walk the halls and kind of thinking about maybe there's kids that may be in his or her class so that you can kind of work with them this summer or the rest of the summer. And maybe those are the kids that they pair and group your child with. So have any of you done any of that? Okay.
So he's not registered yet, but they are working with us still. So when he has something set up the end of August to go to school, look at all the video and everything, but they don't know who the teacher is yet. So I don't know if he'll be able to meet the teacher and stuff like that.
Okay.
But, and then I've got her to the playground several times to play, which she seems really excited about. So that is so good.
So we're all nervous. I can see it in all your faces, and some are transitioning to new schools and new teachers and new places. There's something called fake it till you make it. And although I'm not a real big advocate of making up stories to our kids or telling them things that aren't true, I am an advocate of projecting positive feelings onto them. And the way we look and what we say, they suck up like there's no tomorrow. They're very sensitive beings. So if you're nervous, if you're talking to your parent, your own parent, like, their grandparent or a friend, and you're like, I'm really nervous, I'm really this, like, you got to be really careful with how you present it. You can certainly validate them and say, I can imagine this is pretty scary to start a new school. If they say that, say, here are some things we can do. So you kind of take their fear, their worry, and you acknowledge it. You never want to dismiss it. But you don't want to go, oh my God, I'm scared too. And oh my God, it's going to be so scary. You want to say, I can imagine that can be scary, but here's some things we're going to do. Let's go to the school playground, or let's walk the halls. You have science, and I found out let's go online and look at the map of the school. So I think that's a really big message when I got a lot of your questions is how can we frame this in a positive way? Some of you said, so any questions on that? Like, because I think that we're all kind of guilty of like our faces showing our emotion.
I have a terrible poker face, so I relate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because you are who you are, right? And we're worried. And it's almost like, all right, how do I do this in a way that, but if you yourself can flip it to a positive, like, oh, she's going to meet new kids. It's going to be a great year. She made progress last year. I've never met a child that completely regresses to complete mutism again if they've made progress. What happens is it might be a step down in the beginning of the year, but you need to say, all right, we're going to put accommodations, interventions in place, whether you've set it up through IEPs or 504s, and we certainly are going to talk to you about that. This is the second day of CommuniCamp, and tomorrow a big focus is school. And then tomorrow we put it all together for school. So IEPs, 504s, we have letters to help support you where you can give it to a school to say, hey, because every child with SM qualifies for a 504 plan.
Well, I think one thing that I think know your strengths too. It is fake it till you make it, but I'm better at organizing that play dates, contacting the parents I don't know, reaching out to them. Hey, you don't know me, but I'd like to get there. So I do that, and I do that well. And he's better at the actual motivation, pep talk. That so just try to whatever you're better at. Maybe try to team up and do it that way.
Yeah, I think that like my wife said, you're a team, so you have to recognize what your strengths are. And when you cannot handle situations, in a way that is going to reflect insecurity or, being anxious. So we share the work in that sense, but definitely whenever the school allows it, I think having play dates at school, having that moment where you can meet the teacher before class and being in the classroom helps, and that helped a lot our son to adjust. It's like I said, it's definitely teamwork, and then if you have to pick your battles, and then it's okay, you're better at this, you handle this, I'll take care of this other part.